A super thanks to get things going on today's live mailbag from CJ DeYoung III. Who's to blame other than Sue? Is McCarthy calling crappy plays? Do we have trash backs? Is the O-line garbage? P.S. Glad you got the reference last time, Tom. Thanks. The answer is yes, a little bit of everything. I don't like your ground game scheme. Inside this tight zone really is not good. You should run duo. That is the meta. That's what works really well against two-eye shells you're going to get all the time. You should run counters. You should run outside stuff. You're better on the outside than you are inside. You don't call outside stuff. I think it makes sense. The running backs don't have great juice. And if the O-line, they're not great about making guys miss. They'll get, for the most part, what's blocked for you. But you've got 4 forced missed tackles all year. 3 of them have come from Deuce Vaughn. Like, it's just not good. So between that and the O-line not doing a great dominant job of blocking, you're getting mostly what's blocked for you. You're not having enough blocked for you in the first place, and you're not maximizing it and busting off big runs by being creative, juiced up, twitched up runners. All that combined into ground game's not very good. Things we were concerned about. Now, that came in via super thanks. It is different than these super chats you'll probably see here in a second. This is an on-demand version. Can donate outside of live videos. Click your thanks icon, edit your message, send in whatever you want to send in. We appreciate your support, so you will always get a shout-out if you do a super thanks, as long as you're not being mean to other people. 2 super chats here from Marcus Arnold. Aaron Donald, and then he followed with, I'm serious, Aaron Donald. Even though he's just retired, you have more to gain from making the call than you have to lose. Fine, make the call. He's going to say no. Also, the Rams have his rights, but by the way. He retired under contract with the LA Rams. So you would have to work out a trade to get him to come out of retirement. 2 different things you have to clear. Honestly, just don't even bother getting your hopes up. If you allow yourself to do it, you're just going to be disappointed. It's just not going to happen. Samaj Griffin. I know this is a long shot, but how do we convince Fletcher Cox to come out of retirement for a season and go get Hankins back from Seattle? Kind of doubt you're going to see Hankins come back to Dallas. I don't know if that relationship's in a great spot. You know, Clarence Hill has said that the Seahawks offered and the Cowboys offered the same contract. He picked Seattle. I don't know if the Hankins camp felt that the Cowboys were very serious in bringing him back, by the way. So do keep that in mind. And then Fletcher Cox is not coming back to play for the Cowboys. No way. That's how you alienate your all-time favorite fan base in Philadelphia. That one might even be more likely than Aaron Donald. Samaj Griffin, why in God's name did we get rid of Hankins? He was cheap and didn't want much. I don't know. Again, like this was my big issue over the course of the offseason. It's one thing to lose guys. And like, they got too much money. We didn't want to retain them. It's another to just not replace them on the depth chart. You never replaced Hankins until you made a trade for really a signing of Linval Joseph. Old Linval Joseph. Who you paid more to than Johnathan Hankins, by the way. Make it make sense to me. I can't. Bryson Johnson, how about a trade for Roschon Johnson? What if they're related? What if that... Probably. Maybe. Anyway. Look, he has not played really for the Bears, which is kind of a red flag maybe in and of itself. He's probably better than some of your backs. He's also not exactly that twitchy guy that I think you would be searching for. But again, it's not like you're a beggar at running back and defensive tackle. You can't exactly be choosers necessarily. So will the Cowboys make a trade? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments, the pinned comment, actually, of today's show if that ad comes here on YouTube. Brett Alstein, Tavondre Sweat would have been nice right now. Not going to lie. Here's the thing. You couldn't take him. You had to go offensive line in round 1. Because, again, you're paying the... Like, if you had filled your needs in free agency and addressed all this other stuff, then you could have taken Sweat in round 1, which I think they weren't going to do. I think that was a gamble that with the player that they weren't going to be willing to do with some of the stuff they've run into with Mozzie there. Like, he's been fine for Tennessee. I think they really helps having Jeffrey Simmons there alongside of him. But like it would have been nice to get a defensive tackle at some point on day 2, right? Or another pass rusher, which you got in Marshawn Nealon, but getting more there, or signing somebody, or a running back, or a impact wide receiver or more corner depth. Like, you could have made it work, but you didn't. You had too many needs going into the draft because you didn't do jack shit in free agency. This is the price you're paying. Brian Perry, will the Cowboys use Cook? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. I think at some point, if the running game stays this way, unless he's just terrible in practice, which we wouldn't know, you kind of just give him a chance. Although you would have to do some more outside zone stuff, which is a whole other in-depth, longer conversation. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. There is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It's just curation designed to make it easier to save money on sports and concerts and comedy, theater, and everything else all together. They've also got all-in pricing. You tap that toggle, and it allows you to see your total cost up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. The seat view, kind of panoramic live photo of where you're sitting, so you actually know what the view is going to look like, so you don't have to worry about having bad visibility or stuck behind a pole or something. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today, because what time is it? It's game time. RV3. I truly believe this defense is soft. They get scored on, and it seems like they just lie down and can't recoup. Will be tough to watch again on Sunday. They can prove you wrong, right? They can prove me wrong, too. Because I have pretty consistently not seen this defense be able to take a punch. I think they are a soft-jawed football team. This probably goes for offense, too. So how they figure out and adjust from there is certainly a pretty big question mark. $20 from Marcus Arnold here. Everyone is blaming the running backs for the running game, and it makes no sense to me. Until our backs can receive the handoff, having to make someone miss at the exact same time, it's going to be bad. The scheme is the issue. You've got a lot of issues. And I think this also is a great explanation of what people really mean when they say running backs don't matter. They don't actually mean that they don't matter at all, but they mean that they're more impacted by everything else. Yeah, like a Barry Sanders could make that happen for you. Your regular backs aren't going to be able to. I don't think the scheme is set up to maximize your offensive line or your backs. I don't think your offensive line is maximizing the scheme because it's not a perfect fit. Run duo with Terrence Steele and Zach Martin. My God, you learned that 3 years ago. Why do we have to relearn this all over again? It is just insane. The scheme certainly is I think, a pretty big issue there. We got a $500 super chat from Alan Marvetts, a.k.a. the Wild Buck, which we should do a beer bong for after the mailbag cut ends. Howdy, Tom. How's it been? Here's $500 for the jersey. Don't know if you signed it or if it is a player signature. Would love a CD or Micah jersey, if optional. But need a jersey to wear on game days on the road to support my Cowboys daily. Let's go, Cowboys. Hopefully something changes with all this money Jerry has spent hoping for a win. Alan, email me, Tom, at chatsports.com, so we can get you hooked up with the details on the $500 jersey. We'll break it down. There's a variety of options for you, basically, especially for the $500 there. Yeah, a win would be nice. I think your change might come next offseason, though. Speaking of change, from Chris Rodman, super chat was too long. It didn't quite fit the graphic. Good job just on the fly there, Stone. Is there any chance McCarthy is canned midseason? I would be pretty surprised if that happened. It would have to be really bad in Dallas. And they gave Jason Garrett how many years? They don't like paying coaches to not work for them. Jerry should have said that before. So unless you're straight up eliminated in like December, early December, I would be surprised. Chance, sure, likely no. How hot right now is Mike McCarthy's seat? It's definitely a hot seat. Scale it for me from 1 to 10 in the comments section of today's show. How hot is Mike McCarthy's seat? DeLunatic, and then we'll get to David's if it's still there after this. Grades so far, both of our offensive tackles. C. I think Guyton's been a mostly better pass protector, especially when he wasn't going to hook against Myles Garrett. Steele's been better than, especially the run blocker, than what he was last year. He's still got work to be better, though. So, room for improvements, and you've kind of protected them. And if they were truly on an island every snap, it might be kind of dicey. So, which maybe we expected overall. Not panicking, but they need to be better. A lot of things need to be better through two games. Now, if you want to be a part of the Cowboys Report, then you gotta subscribe. That's how you join in on these live Cowboys mailbags. It's all free. Hit that sub button right now. David Ellswick, what the F are we gonna do about the safeties? What happened there? Yeah, you got to take better angles. You got to be more confident. I don't think there was much confidence in that defense. I think it's also, to be fair, not excusing anything, it is much tougher as a safety, as a linebacker, to play through traffic. When your sight lines aren't clean, it's tough. Because where's that running back? Where is he? You got to have better instincts, I think, what they showed in week 2. Cowboys made some weird comments about not being confident, or not think they're going to be as in base as much. I think they got overconfident a little bit. Like, what do you mean you didn't think you were going to be in base personnel? Saints don't run 11. What do you mean you thought you were going to be in a bunch of nickel looks all week? Like, that's very concerning to me, actually. You can't get beat over the top. Like, this is your number one job, and you're in too high coverage. How do you allow that to happen? I think Wilson took some bad angles. Hooker took some bad angles. Thought they played pretty well in week 1. So, which one shows up in week 3? It's a big question mark. Alge Pawar, does Dak have a good arm? He's probably somewhere like around 10 to 15 on the low end. Like, maybe if we only include like the starters, it's closer to 10. Like, Joe Milton's a bad quarterback, but my God, he has an arm. But he's a bad QB. It's certainly not the Josh Allen-esque arm. Also, Joe Burrow. It's not a Joe Burrow arm. Like, Burrow's arm is actually not very good. It's decidedly below average. Now, he's so smart and so anticipatory, it doesn't matter. He gets away with it. But there's definitely a notch or two below the true cannons of Richardson. Like that Anthony Richardson throw for week 1. It's like 4 guys in the league that can make it. It's him, it's Josh Allen, it's Matthew Stafford, maybe Mahomes. And even Mahomes' arm is really good. But I think it's still like a slight notch below Allen's. Mahomes has the arc, maybe not so much the pure, unadulterated speed and velocity behind it. That can't make that throw. That's too much. Everything else, yeah, he can make all the throws, just not the freakazoid throws. I hope that answer kind of makes sense. Watson Williams, be nice to one player from the Saints game. I'll be nice to 2, and not on defense. And this is relative to expectations. So, like, Brandon Aubrey, yeah, he was great, but he's always great. He kind of met those. I think Luke Schoonmaker actually played pretty well. And I thought Jalen Tolbert had a nice game. Now, there's the one pass he's got to come back to. The All-22 angle actually showed Dak had some pressure in his lap from Terrence Steele. That's why that ball floated more than it looked like on the broadcast copy. But I thought Tolbert played pretty well. Now, that was relative to expectations. Still a lot more to go through there. Through 2 games. It might be the kicker. Who has been the Cowboys' best player? Let me know in the comments of today's show. Noah Turner. Should the Cowboys do more cover 0 blitzing on defense? I'm down to mix things up. Especially without Deron Bland. I don't know if you want to go down that path. I think what you'll see is more, creative zone blitzes. Like they did make changes. They tried to bring more blitzes against the Saints. It didn't matter because they were able to block it up with extra protection and very creative stuff there from Clint Kubiak. So you can try 0 blitzes. I don't know if this defense is ever going to be a Brian Flores throw shit at the wall defense. He also does a lot of fire zones. Like even more cover 0 is still only like a couple of games at most. It's got to be timed up properly. Maybe in that game against the Saints, maybe try to get a play to happen, but it's a little bit. There's not a perfect answer because that's very much a results-based blitz, and you look like a genius if it works, and everyone hates you if it doesn't work. Saw it against Browns, right? Browns brought cover 0, touchdown. Probably depends on the quarterback you're playing. Against the Ravens and Lamar specifically, in years past, they've had issues. They were much better last year. So it is something worth at least considering.